Hello, it's Peter Wright and Kathleen Beauvais in Ontario, Canada, with episode number 144 of the Yakking Show. We're nearly at a century and a half. This is a show for awakening you to new perspectives for the changing world we're living in. And every day it seems to be changing even more. It's quite an amazing time to be alive. So as always, we have interesting guests. Today's is no exception, and a very good guest, as you'll hear as the show goes on for this time of year with cold nights approaching. But it's not my job to introduce guests. Kathleen does it a lot better than I do. So first, let's welcome Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Peter, and thank you. And thank you all so very much for tuning in to our show. We so appreciate you, and we love reading your comments. So please keep those coming. And if anyone out there is interested in being a guest on our show, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Peter or myself. And as Peter mentioned, we do have another special guest with us today. His name is Jason Elliott. Hello, Jason. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I am well. It's great to be with you guys and looking forward to our conversation.
Now, Jason, you are the co-founder of Perfectly Snug. This is a company that produces the Smart Topper, which we will chat about in just a minute. But first, for our audience, can you give us a little bit about your background and how you came to start the company Perfectly Snug?
Certainly, yeah. I'm maybe in this context best described as an engineer with a sleeping problem. And so looking at my career, I've been working for some time since graduating from engineering, actually Ontario based. I went to Waterloo and then later went to UBC for engineering, and then embarked upon a career in product development. And I've been working in product development the whole time since graduating. And product development meaning designing products that various people will use in various fields. So I've worked in automotive and agricultural equipment. I designed hydrogen fuel cell powered vehicles for 10 years, laser optical equipment for printing, and my last work was in the solar field, literally in the solar field, designing very large powered solar farms for worldwide global applications. So I've seen a lot of products and I've seen a lot of industries, and I've always kind of been the key technical person on all the products that I've worked on, and a lot of it's really centered around temperature and thermals. I've always every problem ends up needing something that's hot being made cold or something cold being made hot, and there's always energy being used, and something with temperature has to be fixed. So I've run into this over and over again, and I've basically I got to the point where like, well, I would really like to do this for myself, and I've always had a desire to be an entrepreneur. And I was approached by a friend of mine who's I've known for many years, and he's formerly started some companies and did very well at it, and technical companies making technical products, and so he kept urging me, come on, why don't you quit your job and let's do something. And so we embarked upon that process of looking for something to do, like what product should we do, and that's a really hard one to find a product to produce or some business to start. It's not easy to choose something that's going to fit your specific scenario, and so it all came down to one night. We have kids about the same age, and we we were putting them to bed, and I said, Marty, what I really need is a thermally controlled bed, and that's because I couldn't sleep. That's where this all came from. I was always so hot, I couldn't sleep, and he said, hey, that's a great idea, and here we are. So that's kind of who I am from a technical career background.
And where are you based out of, Jason?
Yeah, we're in Richmond, BC, which is a suburb of Vancouver. So we have a factory here, and all our product design and development has been done in Canada here. So.
Wow. So I was going to ask you how your engineering background helped you with this product, but you've explained that really well. But I'm going to ask you another engineering question. I remember at a networking event, I would guess 8 or 10 years ago, and solar, wrong, LED side lights, vehicle daylight running lights and rear lights were just getting popular in cars. I think it was 8 or 10 years ago. And there was an engineer there, and he said, I work in LED, developing LED lights for the automotive industry. And I said, well, why don't we see them in headlights? He said, because they get too hot and they need cooling down. Now, I guess that technology's advanced over those 8 or 10 years, that's no longer a problem. But how was that one solved? Do you remember? Do you know that one?
That specific problem, I don't know, but I can take some guesses that it's more efficient LEDs. Like as
Right.
LEDs came out, yeah, everything got more efficient. And that's will be the quest of that industry, is to make it more and more efficient all the time. And then the ability to get that heat out. So they come up with some fantastic materials and arrangements, geometrical arrangements to get that heat out of the headlights. And
Okay.
many industries are like that, where you've got a heat problem and you're producing too much heat, and you have to get rid of it somehow. So
Yeah.
and you need a special skill set to be able to do that.
I'm sure. And just leading on from that one, I could never understand how geothermal heating worked for houses in winter when the surface temperatures of the ground are below -20, until someone explained to me, well, it's the opposite way around to what you're thinking about. And we actually cool stuff down to generate the heat to heat the house with, which is amazing. A sort of opposite use of that same technology, right? So
Yes.
anyway, sorry, I'm fascinated by all things scientific, and I think I should have been an engineer instead of a farmer and a few other things. So I really find the whole field fascinating. I could talk to you for hours for what you did with agricultural equipment design as well, because that's another favorite of mine. But this is your show, so I know Kathleen wants to get back onto the topper. Let me get back to Kathleen there.
So Jason, tell us about your smart topper. First of all, maybe you can explain to our audience what it is and even perhaps show it on video. And for those that are just listening, perhaps you can describe it. And then I'm going to ask you why a topper and not a whole mattress. So perhaps you can first describe what the smart topper is.
Sure. Yeah. And maybe even to take a slight step back from that, it's why. Why
sure.
is there a smart topper? And I think we'll probably touch on this a little bit later, but as I got looking at my problem, like I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned all night because I was too hot. And the mattress that we had, I tried all kinds of mattresses, all kinds of different bedding, and I just, the summer would pass and it would feel like I didn't sleep all summer. And so it's like, so why is this problem? I started asking around, is it just me? Like I thought, well, maybe this is just me. And it turns out there's a lot of people that have this issue, women.
Oh, Jason, all you need to do is ask a lady from a certain age on.
Exactly.
That is an issue for them.
Exactly.
Am I right, ladies? Really? Go ahead.
And
interrupt
that's
you.
really true. Yeah, no problem. And so, I found that there's many men who are always too hot to sleep, and they have wives who are always too cold to sleep. And then we found, women as they age, they end up with crazy thermostats, like hot now, cold now, all over the place. And then as well, men, we've found as well, as they get older, they used to be really hot, and then they start to run cold as they get older, and they need some heat in bed. And so, you have this relationship issue that's formed, both because of a lack of sleep that causes you to be grumpy and not be able to perform at work, hurts your health. Sleep is so important to your personal health and well-being, your mental state, all of that. And then you have that part of the relationship. You're grumpy. You're always grumpy with your spouse, your coworkers. But then you also have the relational issue of fighting over the temperature of the bedroom. And we've, there's studies out there, surveys out there that like 80% of couples disagree about the temperature of the bedroom or the bedding they use, and to the point where a very high percentage, 30-40% of them actually have raised voice arguments about the temperature in their bedroom and the bedding they use. And so, it's a big deal. And there's many couples who sleep in different beds and different bedrooms as a result. And, that's not great for your relationship. And so, we're all about trying to solve those problems for people. So that's the why. We're wanting to help people sleep better, because what we came up with changed my life. So, and maybe to explain a little bit too about how we came up with the technical part of the product. So the product itself cools and heats you while you're sleeping, depending on what you need. It actually monitors your temperature. It's a thin layer. You can see here. I'll just kind of shift the camera a little bit. It's a thin layer that you put on top of the bed. It's like this floppy, squishy, memory foam-like layer. And in it, there's some fans and there's some heating system and there's a control system there that monitors your temperature while you're sleeping, and it will adjust the amount of cooling or the amount of heating that you get. And so on a queen size, king size bed, there's 2 zones, one for each side. You can control it independently. A little app that you can use to control, set it up, have it turn on like on a schedule, turns on automatically at night, turns off. It has some features like a foot warmer for the wintertime, it's really nice to, cold feet solution. So that's a little bit about the product. Maybe we can touch on it a bit more if you have specific questions.
Yeah,
But,
I have one actually, Jason. So does this rely on some artificial intelligence because it actually monitors your body temperature throughout the night?
So, it's interesting. My master's degree was actually in robotics and artificial intelligence.
Wow.
And so we've used a little bit of that, that knowledge to develop it. And there's an advanced thermal control system in there that's doing the intelligence of, are you hot or are you cold? How much heat do you want? How much cooling do you want? So there is still, you still have to set a level. It doesn't read your mind. But like you said, basically set a temperature level and it will control you to that temperature level throughout the night.
Wow.
Interesting.
That is clever. Yeah, that is very clever. So you've covered very well why people don't sleep too well at night. And I always thought it was like too much wine or too much caffeine or too much TV or screens in bed. But from what you're saying, this temperature is the worst culprit of the light. It's worse than all those other things, right?
Yeah, I think it's the most underrated issue in sleep. So if you go into a mattress store, all you see, let's call it 10 years ago, all you would see is how squishy, how plush can you make a mattress, and the mattress industry was really moving with the invention of memory foam, really moved to like that showroom feel. It's not even necessarily good comfort for your back and your body all your life, but it feels great in the showroom. And that's what sold, right? So that really became a focus. And you've seen, if you pay attention to that industry at all, now almost every mattress company has a cooling mattress or something that they try to call it the Kulo mattress or something, because cooling is an issue. People are too hot when they're sleeping. And I like to describe it as like walking around in the summertime with a 6-inch block of insulation on your back. It's like, why would you do that? Like, you're going to be super hot there, right? So yes, temperature is, I would say, underrated issue. And kind of maybe briefly getting into some of the science of why temperature is important. So your body naturally changes its temperature during the day. So during the daytime, your temperature is a little higher. As you come into the nighttime, your body naturally controls your temperature to drop a bit. And that's a signal of dormancy. You're going to go to sleep, you cool down, you spend less energy, your body recovers and rejuvenates. And it, matches to the time of the day. It's, we're matched to the environment we were designed to be in. It gets colder at night. We cool down. So if you don't cool down at night, which is one of the problems I had, was I'd sit on the couch and I'd get hot and I'd go to bed and I couldn't fall asleep. And, that sounds like really obvious, but it's like, if you can't cool down because you're a hot person, then you're kind of stuck, you know, and so sleep onset is delayed, and that's an issue. So you're wasting time laying there waiting to cool down. And you're laying there on a 6-inch block of insulation trying to cool down. It's like, that's not going to work. You're not going to cool down. So that's one aspect of sleep temperature. It affects your onset of sleep, but also during the night. If you're too hot, just pure temperature, like everybody, it's fairly, I'd say, becoming more and more common knowledge, but keeping yourself cooler while you're sleeping, you get a higher quality of sleep, because that's kind of the natural cocooning effect. Every animal kind of beds down for the night, surrounds themselves in some insulation in a cold environment. So they get kind of a uniform temperature, so your legs and arms aren't cold. And then you get some insulation blanket around there that keeps you at a uniform temperature, but not too hot. And that's what we do with our bedding. That's what we're trying to do with our bedding.
Okay.
We want to keep a uniform temperature so your body's not expending energy keeping you warm or sweating, or, like you need to be at a thermal equilibrium throughout your entire body so that you're at peace while you sleep and your body can do its rejuvenating parts. Now, if you have a mattress, or if you're a hot person and you have some bedding on top of you and you're overheating at night, you toss and turn, and you get fragmented sleep. Fragmented sleep is not good sleep. You need long, undisturbed, not super long, like hour and a half, 2 hour stretches of time when you're undisturbed, when you don't really leave out of your sleep cycle, so that you can get good quality sleep. But if you're constantly tossing and turning, you're going to have fragmented sleep, and the quality of your sleep is going to be poor. Therefore, you're going to wake up, and during the day, you're going to feel terrible, and your health is going to suffer.
Sure.
So
sure.
that's why temperature is really, really important, and I think highly, highly underrated.
Right. Interesting. So I got to jump in quick.
Sure.
One of my problems, and I suffer from all the things you're talking about, is quite often I'll wake up and not only is my body sweating, but I may have been cool when I got into bed, but my head is sweating. Now, what happens when you put a pillow on top of your smart topper? Does that not provide insulation from the cooling effect of your product?
It does, but you'll find, so the cooling actually, the way the cooling in the product works is it's designed to provide the cooling into the parts of your body where you need to have the cooling. Like you don't want to cool your feet only, like that wouldn't be very good. You want to cool the core of your body. If you
Sure.
can keep the core of your body to a good manageable temperature, then the rest of your body, your body is amazing at managing temperature.
Okay. Makes
you
sense.
keep the heat out, you get rid of the heat, and then what you'll find is your head sweating actually when you're sleeping, because your body that's the part that's exposed, and it's smart enough to know, let's get some evaporative cooling out of your head, because that's where we can get some evaporative cooling going.
Right.
And
right.
and so sweating is a big issue. Like people don't like to talk about it with their friends or whatever, but
Sure.
a lot of people sweat to the point of getting up in the night and changing their clothes, changing bedding, because they've soaked the bed, because they're typically sound sleepers. People who sleep soundly enough that they don't notice that they're overheating, their core overheats, and then your body has to sweat to try to take care of it, like you're having a fever. It's not the same, but similar effect. And so this product, like people don't sweat when you've got airflow. So basically that airflow is centered on your torso, and it comes up underneath you. So there's some specially designed materials that allow the air to be channeled right underneath where you're laying, and then it comes up underneath you and then flows around your body, and it exhausts the air and the moisture from the sleep environment. So you stay dry while you're sleeping. So you always have that, really nice, hey, the bedding is nice and smooth and not wet and yucky.
Like having
feeling.
clean sheets every half hour.
Clean sheets every
what a
night. Yeah,
pleasure.
and I find actually that the sheets don't get as dirty because you're
I'm
not
sure.
sweating, you're
Right.
not oily, like it's just much more hygienic.
Yeah.
It's really lovely. So yeah, so that's so someone like you that's climbing into bed cold and then later wakes up sweaty, that's this product. Actually, we've designed it to take care of those type of scenarios. So you can specify the temperature overnight, and it's not the same temperature overnight. So you can start off hot, go cooler, and then warm up, that kind of thing. So and kind of going back to the natural wake up, when the sun comes up, everything starts warming up, your body temperature rises, and you naturally wake up out of your sleep. So we have a feature in that you can add some heat when you wake up that way.
Excellent. That sounds really good, Kathleen.
So you mentioned earlier, Jason, that you can actually set the temperature because, yes, there is some AI built into this product, but you do set the temperature. Well, I'm curious because, to be honest with you, I have no idea what optimal temperature is right for me when I get into bed. I have no idea.
Yeah, good point.
From summer to winter, I get into bed and I'm either cold, my feet are freezing off the bat, or, I'm really hot. So I have no idea what that, do you have guidelines is there?
Yeah. So, I actually talked to many of our customers give them advice and to talk to them about their sleep troubles and to help guide them in how to use the product, because it is different for everybody, or many, there's kind of different groups of people, I would say, and most people don't know what they need, and there's some experimentation required. So I usually tell people it takes about a week to zero in on how to use the product. Some people that it takes a while longer because they're really complicated. They have like large temperature swings. Menopausal women sometimes have some bigger challenges that we need to talk about and work through. But a lot of people just get it and they try a couple different temperatures. And it's like at night, it's like, oh, I'm too cold, and they change the temperature and find out that hey, this number works better for me. So like the bed has settings between 0 is kind of like the average temperature that people would like, and then you can choose up to +10 or -10, where -10 is colder and +10 is hot. And basically you start, if you're a cold sleeper, you start like at a +3, and you see how that goes, and a couple nights of experimentation, and you'll kind of figure out what level is good. And it does change during the season. So some nights, on a hot summer night, you'll use a lower setting than you will on a warmer night. And for me, I change the settings like once a month. Like once you dial it in, it doesn't change a whole lot where you're comfortable. And then during the summer it's a little different than in the winter.
And are there different, you said there are different settings for the feet and then your core, so you can adjust the temperature. So if you get into bed and your feet are freezing, you can adjust.
Yeah, there is somewhat like that. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's the heater is divided into 2 zones per sleeping area. So on a queen, there's actually 4 heat zones. The cooling is one, and you can't really heat and cool at the same time because, you'd be blowing hot air at you, and it's heating. So so how the foot heating feature works is there's 2 zones, one that's for your legs and one that's for your torso. And if you want to, you can bias the heat a little bit more to your feet if you have cold feet, and then it will actually preheat the bed before you get in at night too. So you can set it up on a schedule, so you can, in the wintertime, you can put some nice thick bedding on there to keep the heat in, and then have the foot warmer on, and you can climb in and you have the foot area warm and the torso area cooler. And it's quite nice, actually.
Yeah,
really nice. My wife loves that. The foot heater in the wintertime is just like, it's pure awesome.
So you put the topper on under a sheet, right?
Yeah. So it basically, this topper goes on the bed. You just put it on top of the mattress and you make your bed like normal. So you put sheets over top, everything contained. There's a power cord that comes at the head of the bed that you plug into the wall. It's got a Wi-Fi app, so your phone connects over Wi-Fi to the bed, and you can do all your stuff on your phone. And then there's a couple buttons on the side of the bed too, right by the pillow, that you don't have to use the phone at night.
Okay.
Because like using the phone at night, squinting the eyes, right, not so good. So if you're a little cold at night, you can hit the button up a couple times. You can hit the button down if you're a little hot, adjust it. And then for our hot flash problem people, there's actually a feature that you can hold the button down for 5 seconds, and then it will give you a blast of cold air for 7 minutes, and then go back to its regular program. So so we find that that menopausal women really like that feature, and that it's quenches the duration and severity of the hot flash if it happens at night. Normally they'd have to get up, walk around, cool down, get a block of ice or something to cool down. But with this feature, I've had a number of customers say that they don't get hot flashes at night anymore if they keep cool.
Right.
And also they, if they do get a hot flash and they're aware enough to hit, some people sleep right through it, but if you're aware and you press the button, then the severity really decreases and the duration decreases too.
So how do you keep the topper clean?
Yeah. Okay. So the outside of the topper is a removable cover. So I'll just kind of show this surface. There's the top of it has this really unique material. I'm not sure if it's going to show up in the video or not, but you can see it on our website if you're interested. It has this mesh material, and it's fairly thick, and it's airy. right? And that's part of how we get the air through up against your body as you're sleeping. And that material, that outer cover, is removable and can be washed. So it's all. I mean, there's a bit of a stigma probably against polyester, but it is polyester, and the reason is it's durable. It lasts forever, and you can wash it, and it's white, and you can bleach it. Like you can clean the thing. So
Excellent.
now I've had 2-year-olds pee on the bed, and it's just like any mattress. Don't pee on it. It'll go through, and you've got some cleanup to do. So.
Okay, but that's what I was going to ask you is I know you said because it stops you sweating, your bedding's not going to get damp like it does in a normal conventional bed. I was worried about youngsters sweating the bed or accidentally spilling a glass of wine or coffee or water, whatever. Does that not affect the structure of the product at all?
No, it won't damage the product. Like putting any, actually one of the, we have to go through very harsh third-party testing on the bed, right? Like product safety is paramount. And so, we've done our work there, and it was a lot of work to make sure that everything's safe. So one of the tests that gets done on the product is it gets submerged in salt water.
Really?
And operating like
Wow.
So it's a challenging engineering problem. But it's you can spill anything on there and you'll be just fine.
And I think I read on your website that it's a low voltage DC current that powers it.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
and I'm having been an engineer for 20 years and knowing people are sleeping on this, we took no risk. Like I know risk in product development, and we've gone with 24-volt DC, which is because it's harmless, right?
Yeah.
So there's no harm possible to the user, and in fact, not to get too deep into it, but we've taken so many levels of precaution on that even that 24-volt is a limited energy supply, so it's not a typical power supply that you would get. It's got some safety mechanisms in there to ensure that you can never get enough power out of that charge.
So no EMFs.
EMFs is a different topic. That's a good one. Yeah. So,
but people might ask.
It does have Wi-Fi. The product does have Wi-Fi in it when you talk to it with your phone. So there's EMF from that, but your room already has Wi-Fi EMFs in it, so it's not really doing anything more than what you are already exposed to. So it is has electricity in it. So every bit of electricity has EMFs, but it's how much is the question. And so it's low. It's very, very low. It's less than your baseboard heating. So
that's not bad. And again, while we're talking safety, I just come to mind, what's the lifetime expectation? Because it's got moving parts with fans and because it's got electric current, it's obviously different to a static, non-electrified bed warmer, for instance. So what are we looking at in the lifetime of the product?
Yeah, so, I've spent a huge portion of product development career analyzing durability. Predicting durability is a tough job.
Sure.
And something that, I'm quite familiar with and have done over and over and over. And so we've selected components that we are confident in a long, lifespan, like 10 years, type of lifespan. Even though there's fans that are moving, you can get fans. You can properly select fans and have fan suppliers develop for you ones that will last for 60, 100,000 hours. Long life. And so that's what we've done. We've designed it to last a long time. And then the bedding materials that we use, like the compressible, soft, squishy stuff, the fabrics, the textiles, they're all high quality materials that we've picked, and with the intent that they last and they will be durable for as long as a typical mattress is durable. So.
And that brings it. Sorry, Kathleen, I've got to jump in with this one. Being interested in mechanics and fiddling around with all sorts of mechanical stuff myself, a fan is hard and I would imagine needs to be in some sort of chamber, but most of your product is soft and comfortable. Does it have lumps where the fans are?
That's a great point. And yes, and that's a challenging thing to do, to put a hard lumpy thing in a soft thing.
Exactly.
And,
That's why I'm
and so-
asking you.
Yeah. So great question. So it's actually right here. The fans are in the corner of the bed where your feet are, and they are in an enclosed, heavy, very robust metal enclosure, and then they have a rubber cover over top, so they're kind of soft and squishy on the top, and so you can feel them with your feet a little bit. They're there, but they're down where your feet don't usually touch
Sure.
that much, and
Sure.
and we find that nobody really is bothered by them at all, and it's a much better alternative than having some sort of fan box or something like that sitting on the floor of your bedroom. And yeah,
Right.
it just so it's pretty much, you don't know they're there. You can sit on them. You can, they're not uncomfortable.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I've been talking too much. We're running out of time with all my scientific questions. Kathleen, back to you.
How does the smart topper stand out from competitors? Are there competitors out there?
There are, probably the biggest competitor that we see advertised is gel memory foam, cooling
Yes.
beds, cooling memory foam,
Yep.
which is just a gimmick. It doesn't work. And many people have tried it, and they all nod their heads. Yeah, it doesn't work. But there are a few other companies out there that have similar ideas of ours and are trying to solve the problem the same way. They're liquid based, so they have a liquid layer on top of the bed. When we embarked upon this, and they all have like a computer sized desktop box kind of thing that goes beside their bed, that has all the smarts and whatnot, and then they have an umbilical cord that goes from that to the bed. And I actually looked at those products, and I just was like, I don't want water in my bed, because I've designed a lot of water systems and a lot of liquid cooling systems, and they all leak.
Yeah.
And eventually leak. And so I was like, I don't want that. And then I don't want a big box beside my bed. I don't want that clutter in my room. That just seems not good. So one of the challenges we took upon ourselves was to make it all within the envelope of a topper, which is not easy.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm sure it's not. Wow, very good.
So do you have any new products in the works?
We are actually working on a mattress.
Okay.
Yeah, we're embarking upon that, and so
Good.
that's
Good.
coming up for our customers. Yeah.
Excellent.
And how can people purchase the smart topper?
Website. So we sell entirely through our website, which is perfectlysnug.com.
Perfectlysnug.com, right?
Perfectlysnug.com. Yes. And there's ways to contact us if you want to talk to me. You can get a hold of me. There's a contact form there, and I'm like I said, I talk to many of our customers, and I wish I could talk to all of them.
Sure.
Not a lot of time to do that, but I do enjoy talking to everybody and seeing if I can help them out to sleep better.
And quick one, Jason. Where do you ship? North America only, or do you ship
North America
overseas?
only.
North America only at this stage. Yeah. Okay. So people because England's a problem that their heating systems are quite different. Well, a lot of Europe, their heating systems are different, and they sleep with their windows open. And I guess a lot of them would really enjoy something like this. Maybe
Yes.
they'll get the opportunity in years to come, maybe.
Yes, the plan is to grow that way, but we've got our hands full in North America right now.
I'm sure you have. Well, that's great. Back over to Kathleen.
So I think you answered the question. It was to ask you, how can people contact you? So you would direct them to your website first, to the contact form on your website.
Absolutely. That's the best way. Yeah.
Good.
Right.
So for the benefit of people listening on audio, it's perfectlysnug.com, and you can contact Jason and get more details on his products on their website. Thanks, Jason.
You're most welcome.
Thank you so much, Jason. This was very informative, and I think I'm going to need one of those.
I think so.
That's great. I think everybody does. Yeah.
Yes. And thank you all again so much for tuning in. We love reading your comments. So again, keep those coming. And until next time, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.